Welcome to Let's Talk Kenmore, a lighthearted podcast aimed at connecting our listeners to their local government and demystifying the role of government in the city of Kenmore. I'm your host, Amber Clifton. In this episode, I sit down with Kenmore's Chief of Police, Brandon Moen. Chief Moen shares his career path, photo enforcement, crime stats in Kenmore, and how to safeguard yourself from becoming the victim of a crime. Please enjoy this episode of Let's Talk Kenmore. Welcome to Let's Talk Kenmore. I am here today with our Chief of Police of the city of Kenmore, and you are going to talk to me about all things police related in the city of Kenmore. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Honored to be here.
Yeah, I'm honored to finally have you. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, I've had it on my calendar for a while, and I know that several other departments have done it. So happy that it's our turn. And
I
uh,
know. I finally got my paws on you. So, I actually would like to know just not only for the public, but personally about your career path thus far and how you became the chief at Kenmore.
yeah, certainly my delving into law enforcement was not a direct route. I actually went to college to be a planner, a city planner,
Oh,
and that's what my degree is in. And I graduated from college and spent about 5 years working for a traffic engineering firm in Kirkland. Uh, and really enjoyed that. But I had always wanted to be a cop, and so about after 5 years of working in with that engineering firm, I decided that I wanted to do something different and went on some ride-alongs. Kind of got hooked, and here I am as of last month, 20 years later.
20
Uh,
years.
20 years, yeah, 20 years at the sheriff's office. I actually started my career as a rookie police officer working in Kenmore. It just happened to be where I was assigned.
Mhm.
So I spent about 3 years, 3.5 years working here on Graveyard in probably 2007 to 2010, somewhere in there. And then here we are all these years later, about late 2019, this position opened up to be the police chief here. And I was accepted. And here I am after 6.5 years in the chief position. So it kind of
Wow.
became full circle, starting here as a rookie and now as the police chief. So
Yeah, that's so
yeah.
cool. I had no idea that you started in city or in planning. Wow, what a hard pivot to go from that to all of a sudden you're on a graveyard shift in a patrol car. Was that kind of a culture shock?
It was a very, very huge culture shock. Just
Ugh,
going from a very straight-laced, a very great engineering firm, a wonderful company, um, but certainly an engineering environment with one mentality, and going into law enforcement, when we're dealing with very different people in terms of on the street and dealing with crimes and going into people's houses. Uh, Total 180.
yeah.
But I've very much enjoyed it. Like I said, after 20 years,
Wow.
it's been a ride.
Yeah, I'm sure it has been. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So, can you kind of explain like the organizational structure of Kenmore PD? Because I know we contract with King County, but then there's also like proper Kenmore officers too, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So since the city's inception in 1998, we have contracted with King County, as do many cities within the King County jurisdiction. It's
Right.
just more economically feasible and logistically possible to contract with us. So we essentially are the police department for many cities. On the north end, they include Shoreline, Woodinville, Sammamish, North Bend now, here recently. So it, a lot of cities do it.
Mhm.
And we are all employees of King County. My badge says King County, but my patches, the vehicles, everything says Kenmore. So to the general public, we appear to be our standalone police department that is Kenmore. But
Gotcha.
in reality, we're King County employees. And we do have dedicated officers who are signed here. So it's not a revolving door of every day being someone different. Absent someone being on overtime, our officers assigned to Kenmore are always assigned here.
Gotcha.
Sometimes we have officers that have worked here for 20 plus years. Sometimes they'll be here for 2 years and go off and work in a different part of King County. But we do have the same cast of officers who are here day in and day out.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
that clears that up. I've always was a little I mean, I work for Kenmore, you think I would know, but I was always a little bit confused of like, why does it say Kenmore if we contract through King County? That makes
Yeah,
sense.
because
Thank
that's
you.
what's confusing is the cars say Kenmore
Mhm.
Police, but they belong to King County. And they're if you look really closely on the back fender, it's black on black, so you can barely see it, but it says in partnership with the King County Sheriff. But
Oh.
you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
The badge on the back says King County, but yeah, it's interesting, and I hear that a lot. People confused because occasionally you will see like a Burien police car working here or a
Yeah.
Maple Valley police car. It's because you can sign up for overtime and work anywhere within our jurisdiction, within King County, within the sheriff's office. So you will occasionally see a random police car showing up at a call in Kenmore that says
Yes.
Sound Transit Police, and like, why is Sound
What are you
Transit in my
doing?
house? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why. It's
Yeah.
not common. I mean, most of the overtime here is filled by Kenmore officers, but occasionally it's a Shoreline car, it's a Covington car, it's Metro,
Sure.
whatever it may be. So, yeah, little
Yeah.
different.
Well, and King County is huge, so that could be, yeah, really any number of cities that are yeah, well, there
Exactly.
you go.
Yeah.
So, is King County hiring right now?
Yes, yes, we definitely are. We have plenty of vacancies, not only within Kenmore, but within the sheriff's office as a whole, and really law enforcement in general in this state and particularly this region. Recruiting has been a challenge.
Mhm.
So, well, that and people just retiring. We were an older
Yes.
department. The sheriff's office is older, and so there's a lot of people taking advantage of the opportunity to go out and retire and enjoy life. So uh, we've had a lot of turnover in that respect.
Mhm.
The people that we do hire and make the program stay here. It's not because they're not leaving for better jobs. They're not looking for better opportunities. They're either retiring or simply it's not the right job for them, and they are not able to make the program
Yeah.
and end up doing something else. So
Yeah.
that said, we're constantly hiring. If you go on our website for the sheriff's office, we have a team of recruiters that are always working with people to kind of walk them through the process.
Mhm.
It's really not as complicated a process as I think many people think it is. Uh, there's a lot of hoops, backgrounds, and
For sure.
polygraphs, and medical and psych exams and things of that sort. But they move people through pretty quickly if there are no issues, and then you get into the training program in the academy, and we we really look for people that are the right fit to the
Yeah.
organization and into public service, and fit those needs. So
What does the academy look like? I'm curious.
it's down in Burien. It's kind of near the airport. It's about 6 months long, roughly. It's certainly changed since I was there 20 years ago, but it's in the same location. I mean, generally, it's the same somewhat process and classes. It's a lot of classroom time, a lot of PT, physical work, a lot of time at the range. Uh, there's an entire week where you just do emergency vehicle operations and driving. A lot of what you see on TV is what you see at the academy, but it is a lot of classroom time
Okay,
too.
that's
Just
good to know. I always pictured it like military boot camp where it's just like brutal, like physical, like obstacles. Is there any of that going on?
Very little. Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
good.
there's some, but
Yeah.
it's not like, the old movie, the Police Academy movies where they're jumping over walls and climbing
Okay.
ropes. I I never climbed one rope at the Police Academy. I never jumped over one wall. Like, I could, I guess, if they wanted me to, but that's
Sure.
kind of a movie thing.
Okay.
It's a lot of classroom time because we have to teach these officers, ins and outs of so many laws, and there's so much case law about what you can
So
do and what you
much.
can't do, and these, very unique situations we put them in. So there's a lot to learn.
There's so much. I know. Yeah. I worked in criminal law and justice for 15 years in a very like, you know, specific and it's like, man, officers really like you have to have the knowledge of an attorney without without 7 years of call I mean, there is so much, so many nuances too.
Well, and we're asking them to make those decisions in split seconds. It's not like they can sit
Exactly.
back and go, okay, let's research this and Google the latest case law on this or that situation. Every situation is unique, and you've
Uh-huh.
got to make it right then and there because it could be life and death. It could be
Mhm.
arrest, no arrest. Like it's really can be very difficult. And
There
so
yeah.
that's why sometimes mistakes get made. We're far from perfect. Sometimes we there's kind of a joke that sometimes your name gets attached to case law and your name is in it just because you were the one that happened to be had happened to counter that really odd, unique situation. And
Mhm.
so your name's in that case law, and
Yeah, but you know what? That's how future officers learn and grow, and,
yeah,
there's an appreciation for that too, right?
yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
for sure. All right, we're gonna do a hard pivot because this is a hot topic in Kenmore right now. Because I have seen on Kenmore Neighbors, the photo enforcement cameras, and people are not necessarily pleased by it, but I do wanna clear the air because 'cause I've seen some chatter about people kind of wanting to talk about flock cameras, and I have been told by our traffic engineer that we do not have flock cameras in Kenmore, but I actually I'm not quite certain what a flock camera is, so can you kind of walk me through what that is?
Sure. So a totally different thing than what we have. So Cape with our speed cameras and the red light cameras and whatnot, totally separate thing. Those are
Okay.
traffic enforcement. They're heavily regulated by the state in terms of what we do with the data, how it's used. Aside from the police reviewing those potential violations, we have nothing else to do with it beyond that.
Mhm.
Unless it goes to court, we have to testify or something to it. But they're strictly traffic safety related.
Okay.
Flock is a whole different thing. Flock is actually a company that
Mm.
is throughout the country, maybe even the world. They've been around for quite a while. They have their hands in many different types of businesses, but particularly they're well known for these cameras. And what they are license plate readers, and they're honestly a great public safety tool. I mean, if
Okay.
I'm being honest, I'd love to have flock cameras. Um,
Oh, okay,
they
okay.
they are a tremendous law enforcement tool that allows us to solve a lot of crimes that would otherwise go unsolved. And basically, all they're doing is they're just a really basic camera with solar powered that are solar powered.
Mhm.
They're just recording license plates, and typically cities will put them at strategic locations, entrances to the cities or major entrances to the cities, so that they know what vehicles are coming and going. Police departments that do have flock cameras will for instance, they'll get alerts on their phone. The officers working will get an alert on the phone that a stolen vehicle has just entered their city on such and such street, or a missing person, an Amber Alert, a Silver
Mm.
Alert, whatever it may be. A vehicle associated with that alert just entered their city as eastbound on Main Street from the 300 block, and this is the vehicle. This is what it looks like. Those are the real time alerts that they get. Um, the other thing that will happen is that should we have a crime, let's say we have a mail theft, and I have video of the mail theft. I know the vehicle, but I don't have the license plate. I know it's a uh, late 90s Ford F-150 with a white sticker in the back window.
Mhm.
I can ask Flock to look on our cameras and see if a late 90s, whatever I just said, white
Yeah,
pickup
yeah,
truck
sure.
with a white sticker in the window specifically, and see if during this time frame was a truck matching that description entering or leaving the city, and they will be able to provide a license plate based on that description.
Oh.
So those agencies are not necessarily accessing the information continuously or in live. They can do searches, ask the city or ask the company to do those searches to help solve that crime. That's really what flock cameras are.
That's good to know. That's really valuable because I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are really feeling some kind of way about flock cameras, but maybe they're not fully educated on what.
Yeah, so the controversy here lately has been some federal agencies, one in particular. I don't know all the nuances of what happened,
Sure,
but
sure, sure.
apparently they were accessing these license plate readers to determine where these vehicles were. Uh,
Gotcha.
so that's why I'd say flock cameras have become far more controversial than they were previously.
I see.
Um, but again, I just want to emphasize our photo enforcement cameras unrelated. Like
Are not that, yeah.
when we're reviewing these potential violations, say you're speeding on Juanita Drive. By the time I see that violation in our queue for to be reviewed, it can be 3 days, to 7 days, to 10 days later. Like, this is
Right.
nowhere near live. This is much delayed. We're simply reviewing this for traffic safety purposes, It has no evidentiary value. I can't go back and search with whether a vehicle came through on that roadway at a certain time. I have no ability to do that.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
So, with the photo enforced tickets, we get a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls, but who should people actually be contacting if they get one of those?
The way these programs are set up around the state, sometimes they're run through the police department and sometimes they're run through engineering. In our case, this is an engineering program. We just support the police, just support the engineering department in this program by reviewing it, reviewing all the violations and some of the logistics and back end work. But really, this is an engineering program. So if people have questions specific to the signage or why are the lights not flashing, or why did I saw a flash but I never got a ticket. Whatever these questions may be or concerns,
Mhm.
they should really be directed towards the engineering department. And the city has this very extensive website that details far more information you probably ever want to know on the program. Um, the engineer Tobin, our city traffic engineer Tobin, who has really been running this program and brought it to fruition over the years, has been very open about everything.
Yeah.
It's all of it is very visible,
Mhm.
and like I said, you anything you want to know, it's probably on the website, and if it's not, uh, we will certainly help you or help try to answer your question as best
Yeah.
we can.
It's true. I built that website. So if
But
there's anything that's not on there that you guys think should be on there, let me know and we'll get it on there.
yeah,
And photo enforcement citations do not go on your driving record, correct?
correct. It's like a parking ticket. It's
Mhm.
really what it is because if I review the violation, I have no idea who's driving. Like the state law does not allow us to take a picture of the driver from the front.
Mhm.
All we're seeing we see a video, we see still shots, and we see a still shot of the license plate.
Mhm.
So because we don't know who's driving, it goes to the ticket goes to the registered owner.
Gotcha.
So whoever is on record with Department of Licensing is owning that vehicle is who's going to get that ticket in the mail. And just like a parking ticket, it goes to the vehicle in theory. It's assigned to that license plate. So there are potential repercussions, such as well, one, it could end up in collections if it's ignored, but
Right.
also you may not be able to renew your tabs, your
Right.
registration for the vehicle at some point if those stack up. So a little bit different than say a speeding ticket that I were to issue you, or a failure to signal a turn, or whatever it may be. You get a ticket from an actual officer that goes towards the driver, and that would go on your driver's record. So if I stopped you for speeding and I write you a speeding ticket, that goes to you, the driver, as opposed to these automated enforcement tickets. Again, they're going to the registered owner of the vehicle.
Yep. And full disclosure, I've already gotten one in Kenmore and I can attest to that.
Did I review that one?
I don't know. I just paid it as quickly as I could and hoped that nothing to see here.
Yeah. So when we are reviewing those, the officer that reviewed its name is at the bottom, attesting to the facts of the case. So
Oh,
um, I have written again. I'm not looking at the names. I don't know
yeah,
who's getting the ticket, but
sure.
I have had more than one friend of mine text me saying, "Got a ticket from you in the mail," and I go, "Oh,
Like,
sorry about that.
sorry.
Slow down."
Right.
Yeah.
But I can attest to the fact that they provide you with a little photo of the incident on your citation and that truly it's just your license plate. You can't see into the car. It's not violating your privacy. There's no picture of me. It's just my car. And it
Yeah.
certainly was my car.
And then you can go to the website and view the video.
Yeah.
So, which with the
Mhm.
speeding, it's not as obvious. The red light camera, the one we have at 61st and Bothell Way, the video is a little more important with that because you can
Yeah,
actually see the
for sure.
person go. Like sometimes those, it's just blatant
Just blowing right through the
disregard.
red light.
Like
Yeah.
they're making it's only for the eastbound left turn at the intersection, but some people just don't want to wait and are not patient. So,
I know. I know. That's dangerous, you
yes.
know? Let's not do that. So, being an officer in Kenmore, what's the most common crime that you see here?
So luckily, we're fortunate enough to not have a lot of crime in Kenmore relative to a lot of cities in the region. So that's the good news.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can spout off some crimes, but there's luckily not a lot. We're always, in my time here, I've always been in the top 10 safest cities in the state.
Wow.
So we're very lucky in that respect. But it doesn't to say we don't have crime, because we certainly do, and occasionally there are violent crimes. Occasionally they will pop up, but they're tend to be few and far between, as I knock on wood. Um,
Yeah.
but the most common here is really what we see anywhere else. It's just mail theft, just general package theft, thefts from people's houses, Amazon deliveries that are taken from the porch, things of that sort. Your run of the mill shoplifts at the grocery store, very common. On the more serious end, domestic violence. We're a predominantly residential city, not a ton of commercial. So when we have a larger residential population, we're going to have more domestic violence just because there's more people, and
Right.
so that's a probably the most common actual call is some type of domestic disturbance. Maybe not necessarily crime, but we're going there to keep the peace, and there's some type of
Sure.
disturbance. So I'd say those are certainly the most common ones.
Hmm.
What I can say, because I'm about to give a report here shortly to the city council on crime stats from the 2025. What's good is crime is down, and in fact, we over the last several years, not only in the state but specifically in Kenmore, we'd had a real spike in vehicle thefts.
Oh,
Not breaking into cars, actually stealing the vehicles,
stealing
like
the whole
actual vehicle
vehicles.
theft,
Yeah.
and we had a huge spike, but they are down greater than 50%, just
Wow.
downward. So we've been fortunate to return to normal levels.
Any idea why the spike all of a sudden? Like, what was going on?
Yeah, it was again. It was a statewide issue.
Mm.
I'll try to avoid getting in my soapbox, but
No, I love a
there.
soapbox. This is the place for
If I
it.
get in my soapbox, I tend to get myself in trouble.
Oh, okay.
But I can soften. I'll get on a small soapbox. There were state laws instituted 5 or so years ago that led to an increase in crime, and particularly
Okay.
vehicle thefts. And
Okay.
fortunately, some of those laws have changed to their credit.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that in the courts quite a bit, the unintended consequences, right? Like we
Yeah,
saw a huge spike in DUIs as soon as they legalized marijuana. And it's like, and they didn't even really have like a solid, like, how are we going to measure this and how are we going to control that? Like, it's very different than being pulled over after you've been drinking, which is typically pretty easy to, and so because of that, there was a huge spike in search warrants because you have to have a search warrant to do a blood draw, which is how
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like the
yeah,
snowball effect. And right.
yeah.
So
I think
I
with a
get
lot
it.
of in that case, and with a lot of things that we say, I think that intentions are always good. They're
Hmm.
not enacting these laws just because, uh,
Right.
but there's always those unintended consequences
Of course,
on
and you
the
need
back
more
end.
people to be able to actually handle that increase. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could
So.
get on a soapbox too. I did the opposite thing. I got burnout in that world and moved to over to engineering where things are just sort of peaceful.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you walk me through the responses to these calls, but what are you looking for from the people who call 911 who are looking for police services? What sort of information are you going to need from them when you arrive?
So it all starts with that initial call. First of all, I like to encourage people to call to begin with. I can't tell you how many times I hear people saying, "Oh, I didn't want to call 911. Didn't seem like an emergency, and it didn't want to bother you. You're busy." No,
Mhm.
please call us. I tell people that no matter what reason you're calling for, I guarantee you there was some other call there that was far less important. You would be shocked at the things we get called for.
Mhm.
So if you think you need to call, call. Whether it's 911 or our non-emergency line, which I'll give you behind peek behind the curtains, they're answered by the same people. So
Oh,
if it's
okay.
easier to dial 911, you don't want to look up the emergency line and you don't have it handy, just dial 911. You can, as soon as you answer, you can say, "Hey, this is a non-emergency." Maybe they'll
Oh,
put you on hold for a second because there's emergency calls holding, or they might say, "Okay, no problem, go ahead," and you can tell them what's going on.
yeah.
Um, But so again, first of all, the thing is just call when something doesn't seem right. If there's something in the neighborhood, a vehicle that's occupied, you're like, this is abnormal. There shouldn't be anybody sitting here, or for whatever reason, something's not right. You can always call, and the 911 call receiver will ask for a lot of information. They're going to give you a third degree on person looks like, what the vehicle looks like. Can you read the license plate? They're going to ask if there's, do you see any weapons?
Mhm.
Do you see, does the person seem to be intoxicated or high? Uh, they're gonna sometimes people get a little annoyed by all the questions the call receivers ask, and there
Mhm.
are a lot of them, and it seems like it's going on for a long time. But they're really doing that for our benefit. That's part of their protocol to protect us,
Mhm.
because a lot of times, especially if it's a stressful situation, if it's something in progress and there's a crime and people aren't used to calling 911, this is a
Yeah,
big
for
event for
sure.
them. So the call receiver may prompt, like I said, do you see any weapons? Are there any weapons? And the person calling may not have even thought to mention the fact that the guy's holding an axe. Like like, oh,
Right.
they're focused on something else, and like, oh, now you say it, yeah, he does have a giant machete that's at his feet. That's the
Yeah.
type of thing that the call receiver is just trying to prompt the person who's there so that we have as much information as possible.
Mhm.
And so I would just ask that people not get frustrated when the call receiver is asking all these questions because they're doing it on our because we want them
Yeah.
to. And once we get there, it's probably going to be a little repetitive. Like we may ask the same things that you just told the call receiver. Like, now, what exactly did you see, and which way did they run, and what did they look like? Well, you'd be like, I just told the person on the phone. Well, we would like to hear it from you directly,
Right.
because a lot of times, again, in these high stress situations, what we're told over the radio or on CAD, which is how we get these calls on the computer,
Mm.
um, may be completely different than what we get there and actually encounter.
Right.
So we don't assume that what we're being dispatched to is what's really happening, because
Mhm.
there's a lot of miscommunication, and just because someone tells us something is happening doesn't mean that's really what happened. Like they may have
Right.
other motivations. They may be reporting their spouse for one thing, and we get there and go,
Mm.
that's not at all what happened.
Uh-huh.
It's not uncommon for us to arrest the person who called 911 because the facts end up showing
Ah.
something completely different. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we approach these calls with an open mind and kind of investigate them all as best we can.
Mhm.
It can be very interesting at times, and very
Sure.
difficult to sort out because it's a lot of two parties that say one thing happened, and you don't have
Mhm.
neutral witnesses. You're kind of piecing together uh, all of this on the fly. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Gosh, you guys have to do everything on the fly. And also, there's a lot of research that shows, or at least you correct me if I'm wrong, you would know better than me, that eyewitness accounts are terrible. And so getting a description in real time and rather than expecting a person to be able to accurately recall it later is kind of critical, right?
Yeah, sometimes descriptions can be a little rough. We're like,
Right? Like I need
uh,
to know right now because if I ask you later, you might not actually recall it correctly.
yeah, sometimes the descriptions, because again, they're in the really high stress situation, they
Mhm.
may just get tunnel vision, and they didn't realize that the guy was wearing a bright orange hat. Like
Mhm.
it just they get very focused, or
Right.
and they're not used to being in these stressful situations. So sometimes we'll go to a call and I'll ask an employee at a business for a description, and then later I'll watch the video from that business, and like that's kind of right. Like, but
Oh,
there's
yeah.
little tweaks, little things off. So we rely a lot on video. Sometimes we'll
Oh,
go to a call, whether particularly businesses where, yeah, we'll get a brief description, but we want to access that video as quickly as possible,
for sure.
and let's go on there and see exactly what happened. And luckily these days, most everything is recorded. Like
Mhm.
everybody has cameras, everybody has Ring doorbells. Uh, a lot of homes have multiple cameras around them, so we really love having that access to that videos either as quickly as possible, or even after the fact when we're
Yeah,
investigating.
for sure, for sure. There's eyes everywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Including mine right here, which is we all have
really?
body cams,
Your
so
body cam? Yeah.
also recording. Not right
Wow.
now, but
Okay.
normally.
It's like, well
Kind of be redundant to be recording this right now, but yeah.
So, how can someone avoid being a victim of, like, a fraud?
We have a lot of fraud victims, and unfortunately, a lot of times here recently, there've been high dollar losses in those frauds, and really what it boils down to is people, I don't want to use the word gullible, but I will, they're being a little gullible, like they're just
Yeah.
not being critical enough about the situation they're reading. And it's not always, in fact, some of these more recent ones, it's not kind of the what you would envision as being the 85-year-old widow who lives alone and falls victim to a phone call or text.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're people younger than us
Yeah.
falling for this. And so I really, if you want to avoid being a victim, is just don't believe what you're being told all the time. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these frauds that we're seeing now are people claiming to be the police, saying, "Oh, you have a warrant for your arrest.
Mhm.
You have a toll that you haven't paid, and you're going to get arrested if you don't pay that toll. We're not going to arrest you for not paying a toll. We're not. Gonna,
No.
First of all, we're never going to call you or text you saying we're going to arrest you. If we're going to arrest you, we're going to come to your house and arrest you.
Right.
We're not going to send a threatening
Yeah, heads up.
email, phone call, or text to you.
Right.
That will never happen.
Mhm.
So if people are just a little more skeptical of everything that comes into their inbox or on every phone call they get, they can avoid a lot of these frauds.
Mhm.
And what I tell people is if you're not sure, because some of them are very sophisticated, there are some frauds where I could see falling victim to,
Mhm.
particularly those where they're researching your family on the internet, which is not difficult to do. You can find a family member's name, and they call you and say, "Oh, hey, this is Billy, your cousin, and I'm in jail. I need bail money."
Oh, wow.
And they're like, "Well, that kind of sounds like Billy. He never calls, but boy, maybe this is real." And so, and how would they know that Billy's my cousin? So it kind of spirals
Yeah.
from there, where they do a
Mhm.
little bit of legwork in advance. The fraudsters,
Gosh.
these criminals, and so still be skeptical of that, even if cousin, grandson, whoever calls asking for
Yeah.
bail money. You go, hmm. And what you could really be tricky is if they really do claim to be Billy, say, "Hey, Billy, how is your aunt Susan doing?" And they're like, "Oh, she's doing great." Well, Billy, Billy doesn't have an aunt Susan. Just start asking questions
Oh,
about
yeah.
that. Ask them their dog's names. Like, "Oh, how's your dog Spot doing?" "Oh, great. Spot's great. I need that bail money." Like, "Oh, hey, Billy, you don't have a dog named Spot." Like, you could little things like that, or
Yeah.
you can just do your own detective work on the fly there, and hopefully frustrate
That's
these
really
criminals.
good advice.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of that. That's good.
And
Good to know.
one more quick thing, the other thing that we're seeing a lot of and have, not just here, but really around the country, is people falling victim to these crimes where they're claiming to be the police or some government agency, and they're
Mhm.
demanding gift cards or Bitcoin. Like
Mhm.
the people will, it's like a police agency claiming me from a police agency saying, "We're going to keep you out of jail. We're not going to arrest you, but we need you to go to Safeway and buy $1,000 in Amazon gift cards. Don't hang up. They're going to keep you on the phone because they don't want you to call the police. They keep you on the phone while you go to Safeway, get these gift cards, and have you read the numbers off the back of the gift cards
Oh.
to them."
Uh-huh.
Happens over and over and over.
Gosh.
No government agency, whether it be police, IRS, anyone is ever going to request gift cards or Bitcoin from you, ever.
Never.
There's no logical reason for that. But these criminals, they get people on the phone and they just pressure them so much into thinking that they're going to go to jail, that
Yeah.
their social security number is going to be suspended, which isn't
Uh-huh.
even a thing. But they convince them and just threaten them to the point that they feel the need to go to the store and get these gift cards and do this, and it's always a scam. So
Yeah.
what I tell people is, despite them telling you not to hang up, hang up. If it was
Mhm.
really important, they'll call back, but they're not going to. They're going to
They're
move
not.
on to the next
Yeah.
potential victim. So hang up, and if you're really concerned that maybe it's legitimate, hang up then or call on a different phone to us, and we will help you kind of guide you through it and go,
Yeah.
no, that's 100%. 100% of the time, we're going to tell you it's a scam. But if you're not
Right.
sure, you can call us and we'll help you sort through it. I'd much rather have you call us and take up our time to help you walk through it and verify it as a scam
Mhm.
than you to lose
Yeah.
$40,000 of your savings.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it happens a lot.
Oh, it's so lousy, the people that do that to other people. It's so lousy.
Yeah, and it's
Ugh.
really difficult to investigate. A lot of them originate overseas, but not
Mhm.
all of them. Some of them are kinda East Coast, but I'd say
Oh.
the majority are overseas. But these gift cards and things, it's really difficult to
Yeah.
investigate if they're not local, and so the federal government and like FBI and whatnot can assist to some degree if they're really extremely high loss amounts, but there's so
Yeah.
much of it that most of it they get away with, which is why they
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Mhm. Mhm. And there's a running theme here in our conversation similar to like the 911 calls and now these like fraudulent calls. When your fight or flight is kicked in, it's very hard to think logically.
Mhm.
So just like take a beat and calm down and try. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like people
Mhm.
panic and then
Yes.
not good results. Yeah.
The police have called me and they're gonna take me to
I
jail, and it's like
know.
that's
I
all I can think
know.
about is like, I've gotta do what I say because I don't wanna get arrested, and
Yeah.
the logic goes out the window,
Goes
but,
out the window. Yeah.
yeah, it's unfortunate.
I got one of the scam texts from saying that I needed to pay a toll, and they've got, like, the WashDOT logo down. It looks
Mhm.
like a legitimate, like, very well-crafted toll bill, and it is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, eh, any text or email I get, because you do obviously, we all get legitimate ones, like
Yeah.
your bank is gonna send you legitimate emails and things. What
Uh-huh.
I've gotten in the habit of doing is just never clicking on those emails. If Bank
Yep.
of America sends me something and says, "You need to do this to your account," or, "We want you to take advantage of this offer," I will go to the Bank of America website and log in directly. I'm not
Yep.
avoid clicking on those emails. Any links in emails, even if
Mhm.
they're legitimate, just go to the website directly. Don't click on the text and the emails. I mean, the links in the text and emails unless you
Yeah.
absolutely have to. And even then, be really, really
Y
careful.
Agreed. That is good advice. Well, in closing, do you have any kind of call to action for the public of things that we can do as community members to kind of foster a safe community?
Kenmore does such a great job as a community, is kind of looking out for one another. It's difficult to say to do anything other than keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Generally, are very good about looking after our neighbors and looking for things that are out of the ordinary. If there's one thing that I think in a neighborhood in particular is important, is just getting out and introducing yourselves
Mm.
to your neighbors and knowing them and knowing who's who. If a new person moves in down the street, go down and introduce yourself so you know who they are. I think that a lot of times in our society now, with well, ironically, we're doing a podcast, but with electronics and
Uh-huh.
just the social media, and people tend to stay in. And with COVID, kind of these tendencies and these habits of going out and being engaged in your neighborhood and your community have dwindled a little bit, particularly with younger ages. So I think the more that we can get back to engaging in your neighborhood and like I said, introducing yourselves to one another, knowing whose dog belongs to who and whose
Mhm.
car belongs to who, so that if it needs to be moved or it's abandoned, or you think it's abandoned, you can go, oh, it's not abandoned. That's Joe's car down the street, and you can go talk to Joe, say, hey, can you move your car, as
Mhm.
opposed to always calling 911 for it. If get to know everyone a little bit better and develop those relationships with one another, I think a lot of issues that we have tend to go away.
Agreed. Agreed. And help keep Kenmore in the top, what would you say, 10% or top 10
Top
safest
10,
cities?
yeah, and we're
That's
well within the
amazing.
top 10. Yeah, we've kind of fluctuated between like 4 and 7 over the last few years, but we're in there.
That's amazing. I credit much of that to you. We are in good hands. I thank you so much for serving our community. Anything else you would like the folks to know before we sign off?
Hey, follow us on Facebook or X and Nextdoor.
Okay.
Next
Oh, next
door.
door. All
Yeah,
right.
those 3. We put out a lot of crime stats every week. I do a crime stats kind of things that are going on the previous week, also tips on crime prevention. If there's a big incident, I'll put pictures on there. It's just helpful to know what's going on in the community. Also, on our police website, on the city's website, there's I would say, police dedicated website where there's even more crime stats. You click on it and it shows a little more up to date and location
Oh.
specific crimes, along with information as the city council presentation I'm about to give.
Oh, yeah.
Police report on crime stats from previous year, a lot of cool information. So yeah, go to our website, follow us on social media.
Cool. I'll link those in the show notes so it's easy
Awesome.
to find. Well, Chief, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. I have enjoyed chatting with you. You are a wealth of knowledge.
I don't
Thank
know if
you.
it's always useful knowledge, but it's knowledge.
No, it really
Something.
is. It's good stuff
So,
to know. Thank you so much.
hey, thanks for having me.
Take care. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Let's Talk Kenmore. Be sure to check back for more interesting topics and conversations. And as always, don't forget to ask yourself, where's the fun?